guys, today I'm going to talk about planning a wedding. So, after you become engaged, there are a lot of steps that need to be taken in planning a wedding if you're having a traditional wedding. The first thing obviously is to choose a date. And this sounds simple, but it can be pretty complicated if you're trying to arrange it around different people's schedules, trying to avoid the busyness of holiday weekends, and also taking temperature into account, especially if you're having an outdoor wedding. So after you select a date, you can begin looking for a venue. This might be a church or an outdoor area. Either way, there's a lot of people you have to talk to, and of course, making sure the date is reserved for you. The next thing you can do is selecting a bridal party. So choosing your maid of honor, your best man, and if you're going to have them, you can also select your bridesmaids and your groomsmen. So this will be really exciting for them, and it's always fun to let them know. But also, it can be a little uncomfortable if you have a lot of really close friends and family members and you're not sure who to choose for your maid of honor. But yeah, so just go about that really with sensitivity, because it can be disappointing for some people if they really want to be, but not everyone can be the maid of honor. So just be aware of that. Also, you don't want to have too big of a bridal party if you're having a smaller budget, because it can become expensive because you're responsible for paying for their dresses and their suits and their bouquets and boutonnieres and everything. So if you're trying to have a smaller budget wedding, it's good to make sure you have a smaller sized bridal party. Another good thing to do after this is to get registered. And a registry is where you select a store, like say Macy's, and you can go around and add different items that you and your partner would like as wedding gifts. A lot of common ones are new home essentials like cookingware and bedding and things like that. And that way guests can go onto your list either online or in the store and see what items you've selected, and they can choose in their price range what they'd like to get you. And then once they've bought it, it comes off the list, so you don't get doubles of anything. So it's really a good way to organize it. Good stores for that, of course, are stores like Macy's, and also stores like Walmart and Fred Meyer's now do have wedding registries as well, which is nice because they're a lot more affordable, and they do have a wider selection of things like sporting goods and camping and things like that. So there's lots of different ones to choose from, and you can always have more than one registry as well. The next step would be hiring your photographer, your florist, and your caterer. So the photographer can actually take a long time at a photography appointment because you need to go over exactly what times during the wedding you're going to be having different pictures taken, what types of pictures you want. There's a lot of logistics to get worked out. So be prepared to have a pretty long appointment with your photographer the first time you meet. Well, that's part one of the wedding planning video, so I'll make a part two with the next steps. Hey guys, this is the second part of the wedding planning videos. So we left off talking about hiring a photographer, and the next step is going to be hiring a florist. Flowers can be very, very expensive, so if you want to have a smaller budget, you might want to consider doing some of the more simple arrangements or floral decorations on your own, and it can actually be really fun. You can get cool ideas from bridal magazines and stuff. Before you go to the florist, you should probably pick out your color theme for the wedding. Generally, you have two main colors and then a third accent color. For example, you might have peach and white as your main colors and then seafoam green for an accent color. When you're with your florist, you should figure out logistics about if you want flowers on the cake, they can do that. How many arrangements you want in the reception room, if you want one on each table, if you want to decorate the wedding cake table with flowers. Also, some churches will require that you have floral arrangements around the altar. Also, you might want to have petals sprinkled on the aisle, or if you are having tulle between the pews, sometimes people like to have petals amongst the tulle, and that looks really nice. So there's a lot of different things you can do with flowers, and of course you'll be having your wedding bouquet, and usually the bridesmaids also have their own individual bouquets, and then the boutonnieres for the groomsman, the best man, and of course the groom. So there's a lot of things to figure out with the florist, so it's good to get started on that. Then next, you can meet with your caterer. Now, it's good to pick out a food that you know a lot of people will enjoy, probably not something super rare or that's an acquired taste, like Indian food or something, but of course, it's all up to you. Also, things to consider are how difficult it is to eat this in a wedding dress. So you might not want to pick a really messy food, like spaghetti sauce or something, but pick something that you enjoy eating because it is your special day, so talk with your partner and agree on something. And also you can meet with a lot of different caterers to see what they offer. But once you've selected your caterer, make sure you figure out details like when he's going to be coming to the church, if he provides a salad, if he provides drinks. You want to figure out, does he provide tablecloths, linen napkins, silverware, all of that kind of stuff. There's definitely a lot of details to get settled out. Also, if you're going to be having a sit-down meal versus a buffet, you want to talk to him about that. And also sometimes you might want to hire someone from his restaurant to stick around and help serve, and also to help cut the cake. So there's a lot of things to figure out with your caterer. Next, a good thing to do would be to start shopping for a wedding dress. And as you're shopping for a wedding dress, usually you also begin shopping for your bridesmaid dresses. Now that you have your colors figured out, that can be a lot easier. A good place to shop for a bridal dress if you have a smaller budget is places like David's Bridal, because they do have a wide range of prices. You can have much more affordable dresses, or you can have more expensive designer dresses, and they do have lots of variations and different colors and shades of white. They also have the bridesmaids' dresses there, so that's a good place to check, but it's good to shop around and really get a feel for the market before you decide on a dress. Because if you decide too early on a dress, sometimes you'll be shopping more, seeing more dresses and get a different idea and wish you'd spend more time checking out different types of dresses. So make sure you take your time and really feel like you've explored all the options for your wedding dress. After you've purchased your wedding dress and your bridesmaid dresses, it doesn't end there with the dress shopping, because after that there'll be tons of fittings, and they generally will have to make alterations, at least a few alterations, and so you may be going back multiple times, and if the place where you bought your dress is out of town, you may be having to commute several times during the year before the wedding, so be prepared for that. Also, with the dress, you'll be purchasing your wedding shoes, either flats or high heels generally. And you'll also be purchasing a veil, if you're wearing a veil. And with a veil, there's different options. You can have a cathedral veil, which is very long. You can have a shorter veil, and you can also decide whether you want it to be over your face or if you just want to wear it behind your head like that. And then that also will affect your hairstyle depending on what kind of veil you have. So you really want to be thinking about all those things. The next step is to buy your wedding rings. So sometimes couples will have an engagement ring as a set, and then the man will have a band. And other times they want matching bands, gold or silver. So that's always fun to go shopping with your fiance and figure out what you want to do with the rings. There are a lot of affordable options if you're on a smaller budget too, and there's also payment plans you can get on if you want to pay off a more expensive ring. The next step is to select a cake maker and to design your cake with I'm not sure what you call them, a baker or, but anyways, you sit down with the person and you can go through books of work they've done to get inspiration, or you can bring pictures which inspired you for the kind of cake you want, and they'll generally sketch out a picture of a description of what you want, and you can figure out exactly what kind of frosting, the shade of the fondant, if you want to have gum paste flowers or real flowers. And usually they will set up what they call cake consultation and tasting. So you and your family can come and they'll have the different flavors of cake set out, and you can match them with the different frostings and the different fillings. So it's really fun, and you get to take home a bunch of cake and frosting and test it out and figure out the combination you like best. So that's really fun. And generally they'll expect half of the total amount of the cake as a deposit to save the date when you go for your consultation. The next step would be to buy invitations and also to figure out where you're going to get them printed. So you can either buy the invitations from the printer and have it all set up there, or you can buy your own blank invitations and take them to the printer and get it set up. After that, a good thing to do is to hire a hairdresser and also a makeup artist, unless you're going to do either or both of those things yourself. You want to have trials with the makeup especially, but also with the hair, to make sure it's what you want. So if you don't like it, you can make changes to it, and you're not just going to be left on your wedding day with something you don't like because you never tried it out first. You definitely want to explore different makeups and different hairstyles before it's too close to the day. So definitely book a hairdresser, because they can get booked up pretty quickly, especially in the summer season, because there's obviously only so many weekends and a lot of weddings going on. If you're going to do your own makeup, make sure that you test out different makeups, different looks, and wear them through the day, and also test them with flash photography to see how they'll show up in the wedding photos. The next step is to plan your honeymoon and to make necessary reservations. So obviously this is going to be one of the funnest parts. You and your partner can set up the hotels you'd like to stay in, transportation, different events or activities you want to do while you're in the different places, and get that all set up so you don't have to worry about it closer to the time. Everything will be ready and reserved for you after your wedding when you get there. So those are the main points you need to plan out after becoming engaged and planning a wedding, and just keep those in mind. That's how to plan a wedding. Thanks.